This is a watch that has been sitting in my junk drawer for over a decade. And what is my junk drawer? Well, that's just stuff that I'm not really interested in and just kind of toss it aside. Maybe it needs parts. Maybe it's a cheap movement, something like that. Well, anyway, I started making these videos and a lot of the content has been coming out of the junk drawer as I get them repaired and serviced. This one I think I may have used as a parts watch at one time because it was missing several parts. This is a 1970 Caravelle UFO. The reason it was in the junk drawer was for the longest time I said this is just an ugly looking thing. This big, bulky, but then I took a second look at it and said, I don't have very many watches that look like this. This is one of those things that is time period, retro classic, 1970s, maybe late 60s, and it's a pretty good watch. It really is. It is stainless steel. So the case size from left to right, from crown to opposite of that, is 45 millimeters. Lug to lug, if you want to call it lug to lug, is 39.25. The lug width, now this is not exactly the greatest band, but that's the band that came with it. It's not marked Caravelle, so it was probably something somebody threw on there. I don't know if this is the original band or not. But anyway, the lug width is 20 millimeters on this thing. There are a few cracks on the crystal, but I decided to leave it alone because they are along the edges. Thickness on this thing is 12.3 millimeters. You can see it has the original crown and does have the original stem. Day and date at 3 o'clock. Now, one of the things I actually had to do today, now even though I worked on this, I guess it was probably about 2 months ago or so, I don't use the date or the day especially. I'm not a big fan of that. It's something I didn't use, but one of the things was when I worked on it, everything was working fine when it was out of the case. But when I went back to look at it once it was all cased up, and I was thinking, do I want to do it or not? This has a quick set. So when you push the crown in and pull it out, you can advance the date. That wasn't working when it was cased up. I had to go back. I was thinking maybe it's the stem, maybe it's the wrong stem, maybe the stem is too short, and for some reason it's just not springing back. That's not what the problem was. The problem was actually the set lever had been worn down. There's a little nib that goes into it's on the underside that goes and engages with the stem, and that had worn down. So because I had a parts movement that I had to buy to get this one running, fortunately I was able to replace that part and get this thing running and functioning as it should. So like I said, it's stainless steel case. It does have kind of a target shaped dial and that red hand, and it's brushed up here, again scratches and more scratches on the back case. Let me open up and show you the movement, because this is not a bad movement. And it does have the little anti-magnetic shield here. Taking a look inside the back, if I can get this thing to focus correctly. Caravelle Watch Division, Bulova Watch Company, and because it is a Bulova product, it does have the date stamp on the back, which would be N0, so 1970. And again, some scratches where somebody gouged it with one of those case openers. Stainless steel, anti-magnetic, automatic, water resistant, shock resistant. All right, taking a look at the movement itself. Now, Caravelle, Bulova, calls this an 11 UKACB, which is an A-Shield AS 1916 movement. You can see the balance. It does have adjustments for both timing and beat, and this is an A-Shield 1916, like I said, 17 joules. It's automatic with hand wind. It is running at 21,600 beats per hour, and it does have a power reserve of 44 hours. And it really is a good movement. It's kind of one of those movements that, you know, they put this thing together, stainless steel watch with a pretty good movement. And Caravelle was, I read somewhere, I always regarded them as kind of Bulova's underbrand. They're lesser watches. At one time I was reading an article where they called it their kind of stylish watches. And I run across a bunch of Caravelles that I would think are far less stylish than some of the Bulovas that were out there. So let me put this thing on my wrist and show you what this monster looks like there. There it is on my 6.5 inch wrist, 45 millimeters left to right. Not a watch. Well, okay, this would be the kind of watch that if I want somebody to ask about what I'm wearing, people don't ask me what I'm wearing. They really don't care. This is what I'd put on. If I just wanted to go out there and say, I want people to notice the watch that I'm wearing, there's no way people are gonna miss this thing. Again, so the lug to lug on this 39.25 is not bad at all. It's just, and this has some heft to it. It's not a light watch. You know, is it ugly? I wouldn't call it beautiful, but it is. I think it makes a better piece in my collection than it does on my wrist, because I do not have too many odd looking things. Most of my stuff is pretty standard, classic dress watch or sport watch or casual. I don't even know what I would consider this as far as in any of those categories. Just, I don't know. It's cool. It really is cool, and I think it does have a place in my collection. And probably, even though I have watches that I think look better than this, if I were to start getting rid of stuff, those would probably go before this one. So anyway, yeah, there it is. That is the Caravelle by Bulova from 1970, and this is with the UFO case. Anyway, if you like this video, click like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. Bye.